All right, so those are those. If we go to the invoices, now this is the one that we're going to possibly spend the most time in, because we're trying to collect on the invoices in those types of businesses where we have to track accounts receivable. So you would only be in here for like a landscaper or law firm or something like that, not for a food truck or something, because you wouldn't have any receivables for the food truck. So here we have the more simplified sorting. We have the overdue items, not due yet items, and then the not deposited. So that means that we've collected on it and haven't deposited, and then the items deposited. So these two over here are the overdue and not due yet. So oftentimes we might be looking at the overdue items and saying, hey, look, these are the people that have not paid us. So we would like to follow up on a payment with them, possibly sending out another invoice in order to try to collect on it. And at some time, if we can't get paid from them, then we have to say, okay, do we want to try to sell this receivable to a collection agency or something like that? Or possibly say, we're not going to get paid by this person and give up, in which case we'd have to write it off at some future point. These ones are not yet paid, so we would typically want to say, okay, how often do we want to follow up on the payment? So if we sent out the invoice, when is the next time we want to follow up, maybe sending out a second invoice to try to get paid on it? This one, not yet deposited. What does that mean? Well, if I go over here, notice the flow chart, you've got the invoice, and then you receive the payment. When you receive the payment, you could use this form as a deposit form, as we'll see when we go through the forms, putting it directly into the checking account, but you oftentimes might put it into an undeposited fund or some type of clearing account, funds to be deposited, because if you're using an intermediary, like you're getting paid in cash and you need to group it together and put it into the bank, or you're getting paid through a credit card, or you're getting paid through an intermediary platform, Stripe, PayPal, or something like that, then they might group the payments together and put it in your bank account in a grouped format. And therefore, you're going to want to put it into some kind of clearing account and then make the deposit that ties out to the payment that you received and deal with any kind of fees at that time as well. So these ones then are saying that we have them, but they're most likely in the clearing account, right? So if I added these payments up, you would think that might tie out then if I go into this undeposited items. So we've collected on them, but they're in this account, which is basically a kind of cash account, but it's not up here in the cash area, but rather in other current assets, because doesn't have the subledger of cash, and it's going to be transferred from here into here when we make the deposit into the bank. And then these are the ones that have been deposited. So once we deposit them, they'll move from here over to the deposited area. Now, we also have the status here. So once again, you can do it this way. All items. We've got needs attention items. And then we've got unpaid. So this one gives you both of these that are unpaid, right? And then we have overdue and not due, which is the breakout between these two we saw up top. And then the paid items. So these are all the paid items. And then we have the breakout between not deposited, which was this one, and deposited. We can create an invoice from here. We can import from here. And there we have it, our actions. So we can change the balance due and the due date so that we can see that information up top. And once we receive the payment, we can receive the payment. We'll take a look at that later. And we have the ability to duplicate. We can send again, share invoice, print, void, delete, and so on and so forth. All right.